a slight twist on the story, I admit. As Jesus became an adult and as he began his ministry with the people, he went out to the River Jordan to be baptized. And upon his baptism, the Sprite of the Lord settled upon the place in the form of a dove. And a voice cried from the heavens, "This is my Son, with him I am well pleased." He will indeed have no equal. His pure power will surpass all that goes on in life around him. In time, people would be sure of his identity as Messiah because of all of his acts of loves. In time, people would come to also understand that this baptism was about far more than somebody simply being aqua fresh. A change would take place from within. The next thing on Jesus' to-do list was to assemble a band of aides that would follow him in all of his travels. One morning, as Jesus walked along the coast, he came across a group of men who then and there made a pledge to Jesus, saying, "From this day on, we will become fishers of men." While all of the disciples were indeed men, understand that this message is not just for men. Jesus was ensured of great success in his ministry because he and the Father were one. From the very beginning, he began to whip out miracles everywhere that he went. He spoke in incredibly vivid terms. All would come to understand who Jesus was. There would indeed be no scope to the edge of his power. On one occasion, Jesus, after preaching to 5,000 people, asked his disciples to serve dinner. They were given a few loaves of bread and a few goldfish, and voila, instant lunch. 5,000 people were fed. But when Jesus gave them the command to feed 5,000 people, many of the disciples snickered. Jesus turned to Matthew and said, "Easy, Mac. At the end of this day, there will be leftovers for all." Jesus came in contact with a number of people who had a pain they just could not bear. They longed for the caress of Jesus. And all that received the caress of Jesus were given ROLAIDS relief. Everybody that was healed by Jesus left feeling fantastic. On a few occasions, Jesus encountered even those who were dead, gone, and in the grave. And after spending just a few moments with even those people, all of them rose from the dead, coming back to life. Life brand new and life unexpected. On another day, Jesus encountered 10 who had been dealing with the dreaded disease, leprosy. From a distance, they began to shout to Jesus, shouting out to Jesus, "Jesus, Master, cleanse us. Allow us to again be zestfully clean." Jesus approached and greeted them saying, "Hello. Leprosy, get off. Leprosy, get off each of these people." And following this encounter, all of them sparkled like brand new. On yet another occasion, Jesus came across the tax collector, Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus climbed a tree because he was not a shortening person. He was not brawny at all. And upon seeing Jesus, Zacchaeus yelled out, "Jesus, aren't you glad to see me? I've heard that I might possibly be the apple of your eye." Jesus looked up into the tree with great sympathy and a little pity and compassionately said, Zacchaeus, stop being such an airhead.